Well, welcome everyone to Oneness Talk Radio. This is Abby Gooch and Intuitive You. We're actually doing some new technology things, and I don't think it's quite flowing the way that I thought. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. And I'm going to, there it was. There was the banner. That's what we wanted. Anyways, hopefully next time that will be live and ready for us. And we're so happy you are here today with us. And today I have an amazing guest named Anna Gottman. And God, she was on my show, Intuition to Income, years ago. And I reconnected with her because I just thought, man, this woman is incredible. And I know I need to have her on the show. She has such a beautiful, peaceful presence. And I feel like, especially right now and the way that everything is happening in our world, that it's just so important to be really present and be aware of our own intuition and our connection to it in each and every moment. And so, Anna, if you just want to just introduce yourself to our guests and just welcome to Intuitive You.
So first of all, thanks for having me on the show again. It was such a pleasure last time and we connected afterwards. And so I'm really excited to be on your show and support your listeners.
Absolutely.
I'm Anna Gottman. I'm the founder of the Expansive Community, which is an online membership, and I am of the Expansive Teachings. And intuition is a central piece of that, because intuition is what connects you between the spiritual and the material, the intuitive and the rational, the imagining and the doing. And so it's really the centerpiece. And so I teach people how to be intuitive. I teach people how to live in spiritual material balance and how to create spiritual material abundance. So that's a very short version of what I've been through. I'm 60 years old, almost 61. So there's many stories, but this is like the short version of just supporting people through these trying times to tap into their spiritual resources and emotional resilience. To just, as we said before the show, to forge the new world, to forge the path. And intuition is at the heart, it's at the center of it. So I'm so glad to be here with you.
Yeah. So how exactly do you do that? I know for me, I was just thinking even before we started the show, like shine your light, and that really illuminates the path in front of you. So you talk about, forging a new way. What do you feel that really means?
Well, you see, intuition happens when you're in an expansive state. And what occurs is that you tap into a larger field of information than what you had a second ago when you were constricted, you had tunnel vision, you were worried. Then you just have one option. And there's research about that when you have stress, when you're stressed, you have tunnel vision, fewer choices. Intuition happens when you're spacious. It's when you allow a larger field of information. And I call intuition your superpower, because we go like, how did I know that, right? It feels like a superpower, but it really happens because you open up to a larger field of information that begins to see intuitively the interrelational parts. If you do this, it will help. It will be a win-win for everyone. If you do this, but you're not rationally aware of it. It's intuitively, holistically aware of it. And so that's the way, because we're not going to solve today's problems by, tunnel vision or the same consciousness that created it, right? As Einstein said, we need to become larger and more spacious so we have a larger field and we can go, oh, I'll take from this, combine that, and this is the path, right?
Yeah, it's like intuition opens you up to infinite possibilities. And then I feel your intuition can then guide you into vibrational alignment with what you want to create, right? So if you're like, hey, I want to have like all this love in the world, right? Your intuition is like, bam, here you go. Here's all this love. And now you align with the people, places, and circumstances that you want to match that vibration. So I think it's really about getting back to our core, as love. And I always teach these really simple principles, right? Of just dropping your awareness from your head to your heart, right? Feeling life through your heart. And then dropping into your core a couple inches below your belly button, right into that knowing, right in that intuitive center that knows truth. And then it's like you are that illuminated light bulb, right? You're like, man, I can feel the light, the love moving in and through me. And as I walk, oh, people follow, and it opens up the path, and it just,
Yeah.
it gets more and more fun.
Yeah.
So I feel like, to find that and find what brings your light out, what makes you happy, what
Yeah.
illuminates you, you
Yeah.
know?
To quote Marie Kondo, what sparks joy,
Oh, I love it. That's awesome. I love it. What sparks joy? Oh, I love that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, what do you do that like sparks your joy and illuminates your heart?
Wow. Well, it's like my life in this incarnation is to teach people how to live in spiritual material balance,
Yeah.
how to create spiritual unity on our planet, and how to make this very, very practical. Because spirituality often feels like something that's unattainable, right?
Mhm.
Something woo-woo, something, okay, some grace, some gratitude, some joy,
Mhm.
and somehow we're going to have a spiritual experience. And it's really small practical things that are very, so I look for spiritual material unity in everything I do.
Love that.
So even I'll take a simple example. Look, we're using technology, which is super material,
Yeah.
but it's human ingenuity that's created technology. Ingenuity is a beautiful quality. So when I get online with you here, in my heart, I say thank you to technology, to allowing us to communicate your soul, my soul, and all the souls that are listening.
Right.
So there is spiritual qualities in everything material.
Mhm.
And when you start to look at that,
Mhm.
the spiritual qualities give you the fulfillment. The
Mhm.
material gratification gives you the pleasure, the senses to experience the spirit.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so this unity is what gives me peacefulness, what gives me joy, what calms me, because we're all going through stress. I mean, how can you not, right? And if you only had to do 3 acts of gratitude a year ago, you got to do 10 today in order to stay in the same balance, right?
Yeah.
But it's really tapping into the spiritual and then seeing it expressing it in the material,
Mhm.
which I feel is what keeps me balanced. When I kind of lose it, when I go like upset about, there's so many upsetting things going on in the world, right? Um,
I mean, it's no accident that you're on Oneness Talk Radio, right? Which the whole philosophy is oneness, right? And so to
right.
actually see everything reflecting back to us. And I love that you said, I remember my mom used to say something like, everything starts in energy. She's like, whoever created that table thought of it first, right? Like everything starts in energy. So it's this spiritual matter, so to speak, spiritual energy that then becomes physical. So
Yeah.
that's why I think it's, our intention and really where we're putting our focus. I love that you bring
Yeah.
gratitude, like such a powerful practice.
Yeah.
And then it transforms, things that
Yeah.
can feel painful.
Yeah. Yeah. I find that people, everybody wants this intuitive superpower, but people have they have a hard time tapping into intuition, knowing what the steps are to
Mm.
get there or what the cues are, right? They don't trust their intuition when they get an intuitive hit. They don't trust, is this reason or is this intuition, right?
Mm.
These are the things that stop. I just have it here. You don't know how to get into an intuitive, receptive state of mind. Don't know how to identify this is an intuitive thought and this is a rational, regular thought. And then you don't act upon it because you're really scared. You don't trust your intuition.
Mm.
And so I want to help your listeners and just give a differentiation between rational thinking and intuition, because we need both. And what I have come to realize that intuition guides the way. Intuition is the guide, and rational is how you're going to get there. So we need both of them. It's not just be intuitive or just be practical, meaning rational. Intuition is when, as I said before, you tap into a larger field of information, and that is more whole. So it takes into account more information than you are consciously aware of. And so it gives you the most favorable outcome for the situation. Make sense?
Yep,
Because
100%.
you have a larger field. It's like, okay. And so when you're in this expansive, blissful, spacious state, you focus on a problem, you focus on an issue, you have the spaciousness, you get an insight suddenly. It comes as a holistic knowing. Wow, why didn't I think of this before? This is so right. This is the right thing to do. It comes like a flash, right? And then the rational is how you're going to do it. Okay, how am I going to go about this? Chunk it down. And then what I love when you talk about the heart is, okay, how can I do this with heart? Because if you don't do it with heart, then you just go to a boring to-do list. So the heart is really the connector, as you said, between the spirit and matter, physical, acting in the world, the mundane, so to speak. It's, okay, how can I do this with heart? How can I do this as a blessing? How can I do this as an expression of what I'm supposed to do in this life? Or how can I do this in order to restore wholeness to my life at this moment where it seems like the world is melting and disintegrating, but it's also being rebuilt by you, by me, by all of us, right? So happening at the same time.
Yeah. You know, there's a quote by Albert Einstein, and it's something like intuition is the gift and the mind is its faithful servant. So it's basically like, you know, exactly what you said. Intuition has this knowing, and then the mind can serve what the intuition knows. And, you know, just a reminder, we're all intuitive. It is totally a gift that you're born with. I mean, it's just like any other sense, like hearing. Intuition is that knowing. And so it does have the ability to pick up more information than just our rational sense. So if you think about your brain, like if you look at your physical body, your brain is probably not even 20% the size of the rest of your body, right? So it only knows so much. And then there's research now, and it's probably beyond this now, but there's 500 million cells in your gut alone that are like receptors of energy. So your gut knows, right? And so it's like when you're listening to that, it's like you are tapping into that infinite knowledge. And then our beautiful brains can serve that knowledge, that knowingness, and say, oh yeah, step 1, 2, and 3. Whoa, oh my gosh, I have a beautiful table, you know? So it's kind of like it knows what to do.
Yeah. I mean, even the biggest scientists like Einstein, you know, it's like all scientists, the hunch for what to study in a scientific method is always intuitive. Always, even for the biggest scientists, right? So even for us, the hunch, the gut feeling, that's the intuition. And it's so interesting that, you know, they have realized how many, I can't even say it, but how our intelligence is in the gut. Right. And that's why we say we have a gut feeling, right? Because our intuition is really what is going to guide us. And then the rationale is what's going to, wait a second, how is this possible? But if you don't have the intuition, the creative wholeness of it, we wouldn't have civilization. We wouldn't move forward. And so even you know, all of us today, we're struggling with whatever, financial issues or relationships or health. You know, we just had fires, you know, just ongoing fires in the fire season here in Northern California. There's so much stress going on that it is important to be an island of peacefulness in order to have the spaciousness, in order to know how to move forward.
Yeah, I love that. And just real quick, this thought came in. I thought it was great. So I think where it's easy to kind of get hung up is if you do the rational first, because if you do the rational and you start with, how can I do this? Say you have this amazing dream to, like, I don't know, like me, change the world with your love, right? Like have this, like, oh my God, how am I going to do it? Right? Like your mind will just spin in the how, and it won't get there unless you go to your intuition first, which is opening you up to the expansion. And then you have the steps. So that's why it's like, you know, the first intuitive feeling is the right one, right? And letting your intuition, like you said, lead the way, then the mind follows. If you get it backwards, that's where you can mind spin, and that's where you can feel stuck because your brain can't quite figure it out. It can help you, but the answer is beyond even that.
Yeah. Yeah. And the heart is how you can do it with integrity, right? And joy, what sparks joy, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it just comes to me. We'll see how it connects, but it's just, I did my weekly video blog last week about it. It's such a simple thing because we're at home a lot. We're working from home. You know, I get dressed up every day. I get dressed up every day. I walk across the house. I come to my office and I sit here. And the reason, you know, and I see on Instagram, I see people on Facebook, you know, I'm in bed on my calls because nobody sees me anyway, right? Such a simple way to get into an expansive state is to choose the quality you want to dress in today. Choose the quality. So I did the video about ease, how to dress with ease, you know, and so I wear a shawl when I want to have ease. And when I want to have, you know, when I want to be more like peppy or fiery, I'll wear something red. Or if I want to be grounded, I pick, rather than dressing according to what I'm going to wear, I dress according to what I want to be today. Okay. So I go for the spiritual first, then I get dressed according to how I want to feel. And then I cross the house and I'm in my office. I didn't go to any office. I didn't have a meeting, but I could walk into any meeting and I'd feel, as they say, like $1 million. I just feel really, really good. So that you see, and I came to that through intuitive knowing, right? Going to the spiritual first and then to the material. And it's such an easy way to feel so much better about yourself throughout your day, is to dress up in these spiritual qualities that you want to embody.
Yeah. Well, it's vibration, like we talked about at the beginning, right? Like you're being the vibration and then you're attracting professionalism, clearness, you know, just love, all of it. And, you know, you feel good about you when you dress up and you feel good, you know? Totally. I love it.
Yeah.
That's so sweet. Man, I'm trying to think your other points that you mentioned. Well, I'll just open the door. So if anybody wants to start calling in, you can call in now or at 8:45. So you can call 858-692-4555 and ask either Anna or I a question. Again, that's 858-692-4555. And Anna, where is it in your body or in your life? Like, how do you connect to your intuition? What is your either daily practice or way you do it?
Yeah. Well, I've been doing this for many, many years. And so by now I know there's a specific sensation that I have in my heart, in my chest. So in my chest area, in the heart chakra, that I feel where suddenly I feel spaciousness. I feel expansion. I feel a heightened emotion. So and so that's how I know. It's like, oh, I'm in the zone. I'm in the zone. I better listen now. And so sometimes it comes to me, even I'd be doing something else, you know, I'm cooking, I'm driving, I'm taking a shower. I'm not focusing on how do I solve this. I'm doing something else. And suddenly it goes like, oh, I just feel there's more, I'm more loose. I'm less defined as Anna. I'm more kind of, maybe it isn't, I'm in my heart more, you know, it's like but it's not necessarily compassion. It's just I'm listening at the center, and the heart is kind of there. And so in my book I do speak about four cues that will help you know that, oh, I'm in the zone. And the first one is that you are in an expansive state. You are more spacious. And I can give you tips of how you can get there, just one or two. The second one, and I just have it here because I can't remember it all, it appears in a sudden flash. So when I am going about my day, whatever I'm doing, and it can be I'm focusing on work, or it can be that I am in the supermarket, right? Doing something different, or driving and I see the trees around, and so I'm more spacious. When I get a thought that shows up, boom, like this, Not I thought of it and I thought of it, and if I'll do this and this is the con and this is the pro, it just shows up, boom, like this. That's an indication that I am receiving intuitive guidance. So spaciousness is one, shows up as a flash is second. The third one is it provides a holistic view of the situation. It just solves everything in what you're focusing on. Everything is like, wow, why didn't I think of that before? That makes so much sense. It sounds so true. That's an indication as well. And the last one is you have an enhanced emotional experience. So it can either be excitement, ooh, what a great idea, right? Oh, this is so cool. This feels so right. And even if it's something that has to do with letting go, because there's a lot of letting go in these days, but there's this heart sense of it's an intensified feeling of this is the right thing. And there's, even if there's a letting go and kind of like maybe pain or some sadness, it feels right. It's like, wow, this feels good to feel this right now. So there's this intense feeling, but it feels right. So these are the 4 cues that I have come up with that really help me and can help people go like, okay, this is an intuitive knowing and not a rational thought. Mm-hmm. And so I just do them naturally today, right? Because they're just there. I go like, oh, I just felt an expansion. Oh, I just feel my heart opening. This is exciting, insightful. I mean, it's in the language, right? Elated, insightful. We have all the language for it. We just think it's language versus the language is telling us, this is so insightful. If I say that to you, it's because it's insightful, right? That's intuition. When you've been in a team meeting and you say, we were in the zone, what does it mean? We were open to a larger field of information, and we were just channeling intuitively what's creatively right for the project, right? So the language is in there. And if you can either say it after the fact, or you can create the intention. So you could say, I want to feel elation, or I want to feel insightful. I'm going to spend my day being insightful today. And then just allow yourself to see insights everywhere. You're going to see them everywhere once you create the intention to be insightful. So I've said a lot, but yeah.
It's beautiful. I love it. Even the word like intuition, it's like in tune, like intuition,
I love
it's beautiful.
that.
It is. And even what you
never thought of that. I love that. In tune. That is so good. It's so simple, huh? Mm-hmm. In tune. You're in tune, aligned, in tune to the larger whole and your place in it, focusing on whatever you're focusing. Because intuition always comes in relationship to something. It doesn't just show up. It's always right in relationship to a specific topic that you either think about or that is in your field of awareness. So anyway, I interrupted you, but I just love the in tune.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's in tune to you and everything around you.
Yeah.
So I would say when you're following your intuition, it's benefiting you and everything around you. Yeah. The environment, the world, earth, like nature, people, circumstances, all of it. And it was so beautiful what you said about center of your heart. You said something like center, that you listen from your center, and you pointed to your heart. And it was like, there's a sense of relief. Like, I invite everybody to do that, just to feel the center, listen from your center.
Yeah.
And like, feel it. It's like, I get this image of like being a little light in the center of the world. Like there's this centeredness, right? And then we are this beam of that light that illuminates.
Yeah.
And that illumination creates an expansion that then calls in, like unto itself, vibrations like that. And that builds, right? Hence, like Oneness Talk Radio and all of our companies of the light, right? And our relations of the light. Yeah. And pretty soon, as we're doing, the light gets bigger and bigger and bigger, right? And it dispels the darkness. Yeah. So when we listen from the center, I know we're living on purpose because we're listening to the soul.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, definitely. The heart is the center. Mm-hmm. The heart is the final guide to how to move forward, right? The intuition gives you the direction. Your rational, logical thinking chunks it down, and the heart is the guide. How do I do this in with integrity and with light. So I love that. Yeah.
Isn't that funny? Part of the reason I was like, what made me think of Anna? And I remember the word integrity. And I remember just being like, I just felt this integrity with her, And so it's like, people remember us by our energy. And, you didn't really say anything. It was the energy I felt, And so I feel like just pay attention to what people are saying and remembering you by,
Yeah.
leaving that footprint.
Beautiful. That is so beautiful. So what would you say? I mean, I see so many people are feeling disheartened and they feel kind of lost. They feel forsaken. They feel it's just hard, they consume all this free content,
Mm.
but they're lost. So what would you tell them, if I can ask you a question, would be the first step to moving from this place of feeling, oh my God, this is just overwhelming for me. This is just overwhelming. There's too much. I can't handle. Here these two women are talking. Their life is probably really good. So that's why they're talking about all of this. That's not me. It can't happen to me. It's like, what would be your first step to move out of that?
So I will tell you what comes. So what comes when you ask that is no one can forsake you. So I have been through a lot in my life. And what I learned was nobody could take away my soul, my spirit, my light. So no matter what is happening in the world now, whatever you've experienced in the past, in this moment and in every moment, your spirit is alive and well. And when you focus there, which is exactly what we're giving you on this show, and why I'm so passionate about doing this in the world, is like your intuition knows. So when you do these practices of even just dropping into your center and your knowing and taking action in the light that feels good, that was your third one, right? Like it feels good. You just like, oh yeah, it feels good. I'm going to move into that next step. And you do it. That light, which is you, gets more powerful than anything. Believe me, I've had plenty of things thrown at me and I'm like, nope, I'm going forward. And exactly what I say is true. Your light people come with you. Yeah. So like you choose the soul, the light, you get more people that come follow you and support you, right? And I get full body chills and it's not cold out right now. And, like Oneness Talk Radio is one of those people, right? So it's like, just listen to your center, notice what's there, and like, we're having an experience. Like soul is truth. Whatever's happening now, I do believe it's a transformation. I mean, last week and even today, like, I'm like, I want to call my mom. I just feel grief. Like I just get this, like this heart. And last week it was like clients and friends, like we just kind of sat on the phone and cried because we're just like, we just feel it. And it's like, we just hold the space and you're all welcome to, probably call Anna and I, like, we're here for you. It's like, we feel it. You don't deny it, but you choose the light and you come together. And so like, you're not wrong for feeling any of it. What you feel is real. Just make your choice from the light, right? So I hope that answers your question.
I feel that, what you say, it's just so important because I think that that's the point that people are looking for. It's like, how do I do the first step? It's like, how do I go to the gym, right? The first step, it's like, how do I do the thing that's hard to do?
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to acknowledge that, people who choose joy or who choose abundance or who choose light, it's not that life circumstances are better for me or for you. And it's like, it is choosing the light as a word for it, or abundance or joy at that moment when it's hard. So even be in the hardness, be in the difficulty, right? Like you said, crying, feeling awful, and then moving forward. I watched on YouTube, there's an Indian spiritual teacher called Sadhguru, very big, very well known. And somebody asked him about enlightened people don't have any karmic lessons to learn. They've kind of, and he said, basically that's BS. It's like people who choose the light many times have even more karmic lessons to go through. Like when you said, I've been through so much, I've gone like, how can I support others when I've gone through so much myself? And it's because of that, because we've been there. We know what it feels like. We know how hard it is to get out of it, but we have the techniques to take you just to the first step. And once you've done the first step, it's much easier because you say, you know, it just builds, it builds, it builds, it builds. So
Yeah,
I love that. Yeah.
yeah. I just want to be super clear to discern what I meant by that. So you can feel the emotion in it as you go into the light and the soul and choose the light. You actually will, in my experience, have a better, more fulfilling, light-filled life. Okay. So even in the times where I was in some despair or darkness, I chose the light, and then my external world did reflect the new lightness.
Mhm.
Like, I live in a
Mhm.
beautiful place, by the way, I have amazing friends, amazing life. That is true. I'm just saying I've also been through a lot to get there.
Yeah.
So in those moments that it was
Mhm.
hard, I chose the light and transformed it. And then the external did. And I've also been very blessed in my life, had a lot
Yes.
of great external things. So I
But
want everybody to get, when you choose the light, you also do
yeah,
create a externally beautiful, light-filled
I
life.
love what you say, because if I understand you correctly, and it's so true, it's at that moment of hardship, you can implode into it, or it's like a gift. You've been given a gift. And at that moment, if you choose the light, you choose something that's
Mhm.
in that moment, you're creating something different,
You're transforming it.
creating it.
You're
Right?
transforming the energy and creating something new that you want. So just
Yes.
like the world,
Yeah.
there is a lot of darkness and weird energy. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to shine my light in it and transform it in my way and my part, just like your life, right? In
Yeah.
any way, your personal life, right? Whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So it's a global and personal level. It's
Yeah.
the same thing. Shine your light in the darkness and in the light. Know as you change your inner vibration, your
Yeah.
external environment changes, and you
Yeah.
do, in my experience, have a
Right.
light-filled, loving life.
You know how it's I love this conversation because we're going down to like the details, right, of it. But I love the fact that in the choosing, if you didn't have the hardship, you wouldn't get the choice to create the abundance, the joy, the
Mm,
different choice that you have, right? So it's just it's
mm.
um
I
I
think,
love it.
yeah, I
And
think
then it is accumulative. So so after a decade or 2 decades, you go, wow, she's so blessed. She has so many wonderful things going on in her life. But it is in the small choices that you choose, right? And
mm,
there's a saying that God, you know, like God, when God wants you to have a lesson, first the source, I'll say, whispers to you. First, the source whispers to you, then it speaks a bit louder, and then it screams at you. And I feel that we're in the screaming phase now, right? Because we haven't been listening collectively for so long that it feels like the lessons are even harder now. But in a sense, they're as simple as they ever were. At every point, you choose the heart, you choose the love, all of the books that you read, all of the lessons you've learned, all the teachers, all the things. Just pick one lesson, do that, and you're going to create a feeling of light and joy in this moment that you didn't have a second ago,
mm.
right?
Yeah, I mean, it's contrast, right? So if you're feeling a hardship, then it's like, oh, I'd rather feel the light. Like, it's
Right.
actually an easy choice, because you're like, I don't really want to feel that. I'd rather feel good, right? And
Yeah.
like, you can. So I'm just sending like a huge just ray of blessings to everyone. Just if we all just want to hold each other in the light, just circling in the light, and even just feeling the light in the palm of your hands. And just, I don't know if you can see my hands. I'm not sure what's
Yeah.
going on with the video
Yeah.
camera
Yeah. We
right
see
now.
your hands. We see your beauty. We see your light. We see your hands.
Just like that, and just put the light in your hands and just kind of like shine light to each other and this earth and just the planet. Taking a few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just feeling ourselves, feeling the light hold us, support us. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. And one more, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Just let that light take away anything that no longer serves you. Like you said, letting go. So just let go. And as you do, you notice when you rise higher, like if you imagine heat rising, it rises and everything underneath it falls. So as you lift up into more love, the letting go process actually naturally happens, you know? So it doesn't have to be hard.
Yeah.
If you're experiencing hardship, pivot towards what feels light. Just ask your soul, like you said something like, what sparks your soul? Like, just do that. Just try it, because it'll give you that lift. We're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I remember who I am.
Yeah.
You know?
So a simple way, I mean, it's like I could already feel, you see, so I felt and I feel now, it's very subtle, but I feel a shift here. You see, from what you did, I feel a shift. It's like I feel movement like this. There's a movement rather than something stale or stuck. I feel movement here.
Yeah, me
And I
too.
feel peacefulness, right? It's like everything is calmed down and I feel peacefulness. So one way also is, it's a meditation I love to do, because when we're stuck, we're very self-absorbed, right? And there's good reason for it. So there's no blame here. But we're very much in ourselves, in the hardship. The minute we think of a larger picture, we think of somebody else, we forget ourselves a bit, right?
Yeah.
And so a meditation I love to do is to use your breath. Breathe in and breathe out. But as you breathe in, think of the wonder of this planet. Think of the wonder of the universe. Like oxygen is love in the form of oxygen. It's like, who created this wondrous world, this Garden of Eden, right? Whether you believe in God or you call it the light or you just call it evolution, it's still wondrous, right? And it's like, if you start to think of love coming in with every breath, the universe is sustaining you. And how wondrous is that? And every exhale, you're actually in service of trees, of the plant kingdom, right? You're passing CO2 to the plants. Trees need CO2 in order to survive. So you're serving the trees as you exhale, and then they turn the CO2 into oxygen and sustain you, sustain me. And suddenly you're breathing, you're just using what's happening anyway, your breath, but you're thinking in a more expansive state, in an expansive way than just breathing 10 breaths. And suddenly you're in this cycle of serving and loving with the trees. Suddenly you care for trees more, right? They should be around. Old trees should be around. And suddenly you're in a cycle of wonder at this beauty, caring for the trees. You're in an interdependent relationship with the trees. Ooh, I need to exhale deeply. I'm going to inhale deeply the gift from the trees. You see, suddenly you're in this cycle of expansive perspective. You're breathing with expansive and you're in a more expansive state. From there, whatever you do now, your intuition, you will be able to hear your intuition in your gut, in your heart, in insight, in your mind.
That was so powerful. It literally brings tears to my eyes because you feel the interconnection.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about you, but everybody's going to have their own experience. For me, I can tell you, I felt this lift again with nature and all of us in the light. And then I felt lower frequencies, people maybe acting in ways that aren't in integrity and maybe of the darkness, if I'm just honest of what I felt. And us being able to lift above that. And I got a little scared. I was like, ooh, and it's like, nope, I can trust the light. I can trust that the simplicity, the natural environment of nature and our hearts coming together. I can trust the light. I can trust the light. And that might even be a mantra, right? As we go through these next time, that we all feel it the next few months. We've been feeling it. We all feel it.
Mm-hmm.
But what you just did in that moment of oneness in the light, that even though there is, I believe, these other frequencies, can we rise above it? And that, even breathing that breath of life and feeling, and like looking at the tree and just like, whoa, like I could feel it. And so there's this opportunity to keep lifting and almost not engage in those lower frequencies. Like that's the only way I found, especially recently. Like I'm aware, but I'm just like, I don't choose to engage there. I'm like, I don't have time for that. Like I'm over here, you know? So lift up and lift off. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
You get what you see. And if what you pay attention to are trees, and that we are in an interdependent relationship with trees of allowing each other to thrive. suddenly you're in a zone of sacredness between trees and yourself as a human being. And suddenly the other frequencies are not there for you at that moment, right? Because you are in this beautiful sacred moment of looking at the wonder that it hasn't gone away. Whatever is going on in the human world, all the madness and all the craziness, the sacredness hasn't gone away. The joy hasn't gone away. The wonder hasn't gone away. It feels maybe harder to attain it, but look what a simple little exercise. And you've gone beyond yourself and just breathe 10 breaths and calm yourself. And suddenly you're not thinking about yourself. You're going, I'm serving the plant kingdom. The plant kingdom is loving me. And suddenly you're in love and you're in service, spiritual qualities, and you're doing it through your breath. And you can do it in the supermarket, driving, talking right now. Like you could talk and I could continue, right? To just, like, because we all are on Zoom calls and Zoom meetings, and you could do this exercise of breathing, trees, service, interdependence, love, wonder, ingenuity. And suddenly you're in a different space.
Yeah. I'm just in awe. I'm just like, oh, like, it feels good. That shifted me. Thank you. I'm like, whew, like I feel this peacefulness because that grief actually started to lift, to go away when you did that. Because I was like I said, I think I was feeling it. So
Yeah.
just to get that connection to the oneness of that higher frequency, I'm not feeling that other stuff so much.
Yeah.
Again, I'm aware, but
Yeah.
I'm not like getting sucked into it.
Yeah. Can I say something? Because you said grief. And I think that when we expand, there's two things, overall that can occur at the highest level. One is that the grief lifts, right? And the kind of lower vibration kind of go away. And you stay focused in this more spaciousness, that I can feel now. I feel so much heart and love as I did the meditation, right? As I shared it. So that's one thing, and that's what you experience. But I want it to be also legitimate that when we expand, we might have feelings that arise, because when we're contracted, we're actually stifling it. We're not allowing it to come out because it's so tight. But when you expand, whatever needs to come out, you're not holding on to it. You're not controlling it anymore. Suddenly, in between the web, emotions can come up. Now, many times it will be joy and bliss and love. And that's why spirituality often focuses on that. But I have had people that I've worked with, and it's like, okay, they just had this blissful experience and sadness came up. Well, finally, it was allowed to come out. Well, then allow it to come out, because that's what is stopping you from seeing this wondrous planet that we live in. A deer just went by. So I saw movement, and a male deer just went by. So,
I feel it.
So this is what's stopping you from seeing the wonder. We live on an incredible planet, and humanity is an amazing, ingenious species. And we're destroying each other, and we're destroying ourselves, right? So when you are in the spaciousness, either you experience this wondrous world and your wondrous life, or when you expand, you experience what's stopping you from experiencing how special you are and how unique you are. And if that's what comes up, then allow it to be. Allow the grief to be there. Allow the anger to be there. Let it out, free it, and move on. Suddenly you'll feel, oh, I can breathe now again. I can feel love. I can feel joy. Thank God, thank God the anger is out of me.
Yeah, it's almost like let it move through you.
Yeah.
I'm talking with a client. I've experienced this before too. It's like watch the anxiety move.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not you, but you're actually watching it pass through you.
Yeah.
And she's another person that's extremely empathic, right? And it's just like you just kind of like, whoa, I'm feeling that, and watching it go.
Yeah.
And I am not that. I'm experiencing it, but I'm not that.
Yeah.
I am that pure essence of love, experiencing what anxiety or grief feels like, and it's going to pass.
Yeah.
And then you said open the space for more, so but it's like, whew, because then it's like that block is gone, and then you have that spaciousness of the natural way of being, which is love and joy, right? Like think about a baby,
Yeah. Think of also, I was on a on a Zoom session with spiritual teachers that I'm studying with, and there was a beautiful idea there that it's not just about I am angry or anger is coming through me. Anger is a field of intelligence in our world. Joy is a field of intelligence. It has characteristics, right? It has its own beingness, right? And so anger is here in order to be expressed when it's the right time for it. So in sense, you're in service of anger. You're allowing anger to come through you when anger needs to come through. Sometimes it's distorted, and you'll discover that if you expand and allow it. And sometimes it is right, because anger is also about putting a boundary up, saying, stop, this is not okay. It's a first, what awakens you to take action, to say, stop. And so you're in service of anger, because anger has its own life and it needs to come through us. Does it make sense?
No, it makes sense. I'm so freaking transparent. So yesterday I was like, I felt like, oh, everything's so perfect. Da, da, da. And then something like, I felt angry. And I was like, oh, like, why do I have to feel angry? Like, I just want this to be a happy Sunday. I don't want to even feel that, right? But it's like, okay, I do. So I like took a walk and I felt the anger, but I didn't take it out on anybody. I didn't do anything with it other than feel it. And then I think I did what you're saying, is I basically was just like, what are you telling me, right? Like, why do I feel that way? So I kind of wanted to understand it. And so again, it's like the way we use it. We feel it, understand it, talk with it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, now what do I do with it? What is the truth in that? What is my truth?
Yeah.
And then you make a new choice, right? And you share your truth.
Yeah.
So then the anger or whatever the emotion isn't running you, but like you said, it has an intelligence of like, hey, listen, I'm trying to get your attention here.
Right. Like have a conversation with it, because in a sense it is a being. In a certain way, it is a being, and it has an intelligence, and it showed up. And maybe it was a trigger from something from the childhood. Maybe it's something that you should really be angry about. We have in spiritual circles, we shouldn't be angry. We should only have positive things and not negative things. And there's a lot to be angry about in the world. What's going on with people of color and African Americans? It's about being angry about it, because enough is enough, right? And we live privileged white lives, and it's not about thinking, oh my God, it's awful. It's about getting angry about it. So anger has a place. You just don't want it to consume you. You want it to awaken you. You want it to say, I'm out of integrity now. So if the anger is telling you, listen here, maybe it's about you're out of integrity. Maybe it's about whatever it is. Thank you, anger, for showing up as a friend on my walk, telling me nudging me. And, maybe it was just something that was triggered from childhood. And so you go like, oh, that's that old friend, that little PTSD that we all have that came up, and they said something, and it's exactly that. And maybe it's something that, what's going on in the world. I feel a lot of anger. It's not consuming anger, but anger about how we're spoiling life on this amazing planet. Humanity is struggling and is living in this human world, trying to fight each other instead of stopping, expanding, and going, oh my God, human beings are ingeniouses. There's dirt, what we call dirt, but it's earth. And we've created civilization from everything that grows above what we call dirt or underneath it, inside dirt. How amazing is that? That is amazing. Human beings are amazing. It's like, let's use it to do good in the world, and not in order to, be cruel. But that also has to do, when we are in a fearful, restricted place, we feel separate, it evolves into cruelty. When we are in an expansive state, we see the interdependence of life, we connect to love, we connect to light, and we see the sacredness of the tree, but the sacredness of another human being, and of an animal, even of an insect. So we don't kill an insect. I take spiders out. I don't kill spiders in my home. Put a glass, a paper, I allow them to go out. Suddenly you see, when you're in a spacious place, you see love, you see interdependence, you see sacredness. When you're in a constricted state of mind, you see fear, you see separation, you see us and them, you see me and them fighting for myself. It's me or them. So in a sense, the secret to all of your problems and all of world problems is to live in an expansive state. And when you lose it, to go back to this expansive state. And one way is to choose what quality, what spiritual quality you want to dress in today, which is very practical. And another one is to take 5-10 minutes and just experience love, wonder, and service as you breathe and connect to the beautiful, interdependent relationship with trees and oxygen and our wondrous planet. So these are two ways to enter this expansive state. And experience the love, the joy, the bliss, the wonder, the peacefulness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a few things that you said. I just had like 3 steps that came. So it's like, when you get the anger, it's like, what is true? Right. So take a moment to feel that. Then move into your heart center. Like, you said your center of being. So you're getting in that expanded state. And then the third step is, well, what's my choice?
Yeah.
Right. To realize, okay, I have a choice. What am I choosing?
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that expansion.
Yeah. And when you're in an expansive state, you trust yourself more because you're larger. When you're in an expansive state, you're larger, you're bigger.
Yeah.
And so you go like, ooh, I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do this.
Right.
And then when you go to a constricting place, you can go like, what was I thinking? I can't do any of that. So stay in an expansive state. An expansive state, you're bigger and you can take on projects that are bigger than you can imagine rationally.
Yeah. Yeah. And it feels good. When you're in an expanded state, it feels good.
Yeah.
So eventually you start trusting yourself so much in your intuition and you're like, man, it feels good. So of course I'm going to choose it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you trust. And it's like, even for me, I just did this little theta session actually with Alyssa yesterday on releasing suffering. Like, you don't have to suffer. Like, you can let go of that. You can feel good. Right. And so that was something I let go of. So it's like, it's all right. It's all right to feel good. It's all right to follow your intuition.
Yeah.
It's all right to be the light.
Yeah. That brings really like, are we worthy? Are we worthy to be in a positive, good state?
God, of course you are.
I think it's an important question to ask, right? There's a song by Stevie Wonder. It's like, he says, it's called Positivity. And he says, it's not like I'm an ostrich in the, putting my head. I'm creating a field of, so he uses like other words. You create a field of positivity, right? And do we deserve, with everything going on in the world, to be in a loving place, in a loving relationship, to feel joy, to feel that we're living with purpose? And the answer is, like Marianne Williams, who are you not to do that, right? Who are you not to be that? If you know it's possible, then I think we have the duty to be the guides, to show the way, over the narrow bridge of fear to the other side. Because this is how we were born. We were born. If you think of when you were born, it was like, Anna's going to be born now. Abby's going to be born now. At that moment, that was like a beautiful, right, decision that was made at a very high vibrational level, right? So we have a duty to stay as connected as we can to that larger plan, that beautiful plan of your life is an occasion. Rise to it. And whenever we lose it, and I'm saying it to myself as much as to anyone else listening, whenever you lose it, just see how many degrees of separation are you right now from where you are now to going back to this place of, my life is an occasion. how can I live up to this occasion? Billions of years to create you, billions of years of evolution. It's not just billions of years to create vegetation, it's billions of years to create Abby. And here Abby showed up, a unique occasion, a celestial event, right?
It's adorable. Wow, thank you. I love that. I love that. I just love you. I mean, I love everybody so much. And I feel like when we see ourselves in that, like you said, who are we not to be? And we're born in the light and of the light. So all the conditioning and all the things that maybe we've experienced, you could call it degrees of separation. And if we could, like you said, well, I'm saying this, but it's in the same, different words, the same thing, let go of resistance. So you can rise to the occasion of your life, which is an expression of love. That's the miracle.
Yeah. Yeah.
But God, I love that. So beautiful. Thank you. God.
And I have to say that, here we are, we're having a conversation, we're having an interview, whatever you want to call this. This for me, I'm going like, okay, an hour, this is a spiritual practice because I feel more expansive now than I felt an hour ago.
Yeah.
We're talking, but we give each other tips and we're sharing it with everyone. And we're thinking of all of these magnificent things. And I'm going to have a better day as a result of it.
Yeah.
So it's really about raising the frequency or the content or the thoughts as you're going about regular things.
Yeah.
So this could just be Abby's interviewing me. That's one thing. No, we created a field together.
Totally.
And for the listeners too, we created a field using technology again. Thank you, technology, for a human ingenuity for bringing us together like this. And anyone from anywhere on the planet can listen in and be part of the field that you and I created. And I love that. I feel such joy right now because of that. And I'm so grateful to you and to everybody else who is here in this field together with us.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm grateful for you as well. And I'm wondering, is there any way that people can continue to reach out to you? Do you have a website or a way that people can just get access?
Yeah. So the best way is to go to my website, which is my name, annagatmon.com, and that's ANNAGATMON.com. And there's a free self-love meditation because I believe that self-love is the key, the first key to it all. So there's an expansive self-love meditation that you can download. And from there on, we can email, you can reach out to me, and let's create this field, this expansive field together on this planet.
Oh, I love it. I want to go get that meditation. That's so cool. Well, thank you so much again for joining us, Anna. And I want to know where you're from. I love that you say it like that. And we can talk later. I know I got to hop off because we have somebody else that's going to start a show soon. You can also go to www.lifeforceconnection.com to get any information about our nonprofit, retreats, intuitive certification, coaching, all that good stuff. So namaste, everyone. Have a beautiful day. Enjoy the trees, and we'll talk to you soon.
Be in the field throughout your day. Love to all. Thank you, Abby, for having me as a guest.
You're welcome.